gang war. Read all about it.
London still gripped by robberies, kidnapping, and tainted kippers. Read all about it.
This is bad. Evil genius outward. Diane Jewel stormed to the Tower of London.
You're allowed to turn the paper over here.
Yes, sir. Right away, Governor.
Who stole the jewels in the Tower of London? Read all about it. The baffling mystery.
London gripped by outbreak of crime and violence. Read all about it. Another murder in Whitechapel. London plagued by robberies. Royal wedding, Prince Bohemia. Read all about it.
What are you doing at the window?
The paper, ma'am.
You may read the paper below stairs when I'm done with it, not before.
Oh, but there's something here that might interest you.
Let me see that. Murder in Whitechapel, gang wars, jewels stolen from the Tower of London,
The article about the royal wedding, second column.
royal wedding for Prince of Bohemia. Undoubtedly, you've heard my husband and I discuss certain private matters in regard to the prince.
I know my place.
Do you? You'd better give up any idea of blackmail. Otherwise, I shall inform the Scotland Yard that I have a wanted forger in my employ.
Please, Mrs. Larrabee, I told you that in the strictest of confidence.
It was because of your criminal past that I hired you. I needed someone who could keep his mouth shut.
Blackmail? Nothing was further from my mind.
I trust so, for your sake.
The parlor maid wishes to give notice.
I pay her well.
Certain things in the house distress poor Teresa.
I'll speak to the girl.
Yes, ma'am.
His Royal Highness Karl von Stahlberg will wed Her Royal Highness Princess Alexandria Romanov of Russia.
Found Sid. He'll be along in a moment.
Read this, second column.
So, he's going to marry a Romanov, is he?
That's good for us. The better the title, the higher the stakes.
Not unless we get those letters.
We'll get them, never you worry.
But I don't want to speak to her. She scares me.
But she insists that she see you now.
Can't I wait till later?
No, miss, it must be now.
Foreman said you wanted to see me, Mrs. Larrabee.
What's this nonsense of you wanting to give notice?
I don't like the way you treat your friend.
You misunderstand Teresa. She's ill, not right in the head.
If we're harsh with her, it's only because we're thinking of her own good.
You mean she's demented?
Quite.
That does make a difference.
Run along now and let's hear no more of you giving notice.
Yes, ma'am.
She's a silly thing. It might be wise to let her go.
Never. We have to keep up appearances.
Said Prince here.
Ah, in the drawing room, Sid.
I let myself in. The door was locked and I couldn't resist the temptation to pick it. So, what's game?
There. There's Miss Alice Faulkner staying with us.
A guest, you might say.
We met her a few weeks ago. She was despondent. Seems her sister, poor thing, drowned herself.
Tisk, tisk.
She loved a man who could never marry a commoner.
A titled gentleman, eh?
A prince.
Like me.
Nothing like you.
He wrote letters to the unfortunate girl. Letters that could cause considerable embarrassment if they fell into the wrong hands.
So, he wants them letters back, eh?
We're dealing with an insurance company now. They're acting as go-between for the prince.
And those letters isn't here, right?
When we first met Alice, she trusted us. When she began to have doubts, she ordered the lock changed on our safe. When we found out we couldn't frighten her or starve her to open the thing.
Sid Prince and his magic fingers will have it open in a jiff. I could do it blindfolded.
Never mind congratulating yourself. Just do the job.
Voila!
Empty?
Empty? Bless me! Not even a speck of dust.
She'll pay for this. Get her!
I'll twist the truth out of her!
Now you look here, Madge. I don't go for no rough stuff.
You think I've come this close to a fortune to let it just slip away?
Well, it sounds to me like the girl's just too clever for you.
She'll talk, never you worry.
Beg pardon, Miss Larrabee.
Yes?
I encountered a gentleman in the front. He's gone around to the...
What gentleman?
His card.
I don't know the gentleman.
There's the bloke.
He's a tall, dark-haired man with a top hat.
Sherlock Holmes.
Yes, that's the name.
I'm getting out of here.
What's the matter?
What troubles you, Mr. Prince?
Don't you know who he is?
Probably a representative for the insurance company.
He's a private investigator. I don't want to see him. He's a devil, that Holmes. Put me behind bars 2 years ago.
Probably deserved it.
It's him.
Keep calm, we don't have anything to worry about.
I certainly hope not.
All hide.
Shall I admit the gentleman?
Of course, find out what he wants. I'll be upstairs.
Please go into the drawing room, sir.
Thank you.
Won't you sit down, sir?
Thank you.
Whom did you wish to see, sir?
Take my card to Miss Alice Faulkner.
Miss Faulkner is not well. In very poor health. Does not see anyone.
I prefer to hear that from Miss Faulkner.
As you wish, sir.
Fresh fingerprints, not more than a few moments cold, and particles of coal dust clinging to the dial.
Good heavens, who are you?
No need for alarm. My name is Holmes, Sherlock Holmes.
Not the Sherlock Holmes, the famous young detective?
Actually, I'm a consulting detective. I assist the police with their more difficult cases. Who's been at this safe?
How should I know, Mr. Holmes?
There's only one man in London who rooms at a hotel favored by a Coleman, who is also a master at safe cracking. Sid Prince.
Sid Prince? I've never heard of him.
Nevertheless, I suspect he's somewhere about. Please go and fetch him.
I'll try, sir.
Try the front. He's probably watching the house.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Holmes?
You're Miss Alice Faulkner?
I'm in poor health, Mr. Holmes.
You are Miss Alice Faulkner?
I'm in poor health, Mr. Holmes. Please be brief.
Miss Faulkner, you have been dealing with a reputable insurance company regarding certain letters.
That is of my business, Mr. Holmes.
Incorrect. It is my business. The insurance firm has engaged my services.
They wish me to set a price,
They wish me to speak with Miss Alice Faulkner.
and so you are.
Do not try my patience, Madge Larrabee. I know you and your husband have been keeping Miss Faulkner a prisoner in this house, and unless you produce her at once, I shall inform the police. I happen to know the authorities in France are most anxious to learn of your whereabouts.
James! James! Bring her in here! Hurry! You're a clever man, Sherlock Holmes.
Clever? I'm not clever, Madge. I'm brilliant. And the sooner the criminal class realizes this, the sooner London will sleep in peace.
Let me go, you beast!
Over there with her.
Who's he?
Sherlock Holmes, a detective. He's working for the insurance company.
Don't reach for your pistol, Larrabee. It would be a foolish gesture.
Pistol. I was reaching for my pipe.
You've been mistreating this poor girl. There are marks on her wrists.
I wouldn't tell him anything if I were you, Alice. All he wants is your precious letters.
Do you wish to lodge a complaint against these people?
I will handle this matter in my own way.
I implore you, Miss Faulkner, if you release the contents of your letters, there's no telling what damage it will cause.
What do I care for damage? I only care about one thing. Money.
The insurance people will pay you a fair price.
I'm not interested in a fair price. You may tell your employers that these letters will cost them thousands and thousands of pounds.
May I see these letters?
You'll have to find them first.
Quick! There's a fire below stairs! It's supposed to be on the kitchen window!
Fire!
We're the devil's foreman.
Don't let it spread!
Why don't you help them?
Because I have the matter under control. When a woman thinks her house is on fire, her first instinct is to rush to the thing which she values most. A married woman reaches for her baby. An unmarried one grabs at her jewelry, or in this case, letters.
I am undone!
I am only here to help you, Miss Faulkner. You are in the clutches of two villainous criminals.
You're clever.
Brilliant.
You have letters. You've won.
I have the letters, it's true, but I have not yet won.
Only grease fire.
Foreman started it, tipped over a pot of lard.
My apologies, clumsy hands.
Well, don't just stand there like a bloke. Go clean it up.
Yes, sir, right away, sir.
I cannot take these letters, Miss Faulkner, unless you produce them voluntarily.
Why not?
Because that would be stealing.
You cannot have the letters.
In that case,
You're mad.
I'm not happy with Miss Faulkner's decision, if that's what you mean. I would advise you to leave this house at once.
I'm not afraid of them any longer, Mr. Holmes. If they try to take these letters by force, I'll destroy them. Tear them into shreds, eat them, burn them, but destroy them I shall. There's no profit in ashes.
You are a remarkable young woman, Miss Faulkner.
I'll go to my room. Stand aside.
I hope you do not take this matter lightly. If any harm should come to Miss Faulkner, I shall hold the two of you personally responsible. Be warned. No need to show me the door. I'll find my own way out.
Just when everything was going so well.
What are we gonna do?
All clear?
Not with that Sherlock Holmes onto us.
We ought to go upstairs and take the letters by force.
What good would that do with Holmes on the case? Besides, you heard the girl. She'll destroy them, and not a penny for our time.
If Holmes is on the case and you need help, then there's one man in London you've got to see.
Who?
Moriarty.
Moriarty.
Professor Moriarty, the Napoleon of crime. He hates Sherlock Holmes with a right passion. He'll get them letters for you and stop that snooper in his tracks.
Sounds good.
What are we waiting for?
Where to?
Where else? To the professors!
Come on.
Only a penny. Who wants one?
Citizens of London, the time has come for women to take their rightful place in the scheme of things. For too long have men ruled the universe with no thought of sharing it with their wives, daughters, sweethearts, mothers, and mothers-in-law. Is this right? Is this fair? Is this noble? No! No!
Sometimes, maybe.
Quiet! I say.
Bye, Flower dearie.
I say, the time has come for suffragettes to march on the House of Lords, the Commons, the Admiralty, and all other bastions of male supremacy.
Hear, hear! Good show!
Bravo! We'll chain ourselves to the gates of Government House. We'll demand that Queen Victoria declare a national holiday to commemorate the injustices done to women by unequal laws and unjust men.
Hear, hear!
If all else fails, we'll refuse to serve tea.
Hear, hear! Good show! Right up! Bravo!
What's rubbish? You women ought to be locked up.
It's kind of dirty. I'm not worth bothering with.
What's the trouble here?
It's these infernal suffragettes making a nuisance of themselves on a public street.
Well, it's the police you're talking to now. Move along, move along.
Oh!
You heard the officer.
Votes for women! Votes for women! Give women the votes! Votes for women! Votes for women! Give women the votes!
There now, sir. Things as quiet as a summer's night.
I trust so, officer. Is it safe to walk the streets of London anymore?
You can count on me and those like me.
I sure hope so.
There now, sir. I'm here to protect honest citizens.
Oh, my necklace. Someone stole my necklace.
Wait, my wallet's gone.
It was my grandmother's.
What do we do now?
It must have been them suffragettes. Quick, down to the next corner and get help. I'll follow them women. Stop, thief! Stop, thief!
I understand our contact with the Tottenhammer has been holding out on us again.
His collections from your protective society have fallen off by 2%.
I suspect that 2% has ended up in our contact's pocket. I think we can dispense with his future services, arrange for his body to be found in the mail sack somewhere in the north of Scotland.
Yes, Professor.
What about the informant working undercover with the Scotland Yard and the jewel heist?
Disposed of in the usual manner. There'll be no trace.
As usual.
One of the dock workers in your employ was overheard saying he was a close personal friend of Professor Moriarty.
Professor Moriarty has no friends, and Professor Moriarty is the friend of no one. Have him attended to.
Yes, sir.
See that his disappearance is noticed. Have it spoken of. Have the workers on the docks wonder whatever became of their mate. What they conjure in their imagination will be far worse than the truth.
You're a master at psychology, Professor.
Anything else?
3 of your men come out for trial next Thursday.
Ah, yes, thanks to young Sherlock Holmes.
He'll be the crowned star witness.
Holmes has interfered with my plans once too often. I do not wish him to testify.
Shall I dispose of him in the usual manner?
You surprise me, my dear John. Holmes is not a usual human being, therefore he should not be dealt with in the usual manner. Commence. It's Mrs. Bassick. Admit her.
The professor will see you now, Mrs. Bassick.
Report.
A respectable hall held from various subject meetings held throughout the city.
Clarify respectable. Not as good as our hall from the Tower of London.
Ah, Professor, the Tower of London job comes along once in a lifetime.
Perhaps next time I can arrange to steal the tower. Anyone out there?
Sid Prince.
Who?
Sid Prince, the safecracker. You used him to open the vault at the stock exchange.
I recall.
Any assignment for this evening, Professor?
I'll get word to you. It may be that I shall require your special talents.
Oh?
It depends on how my conversation with a certain private investigator concludes. No trouble with the police?
Oh no, Professor. As soon as it seems as if the jig is up, we stage a minor riot and the onlookers have been relieved of their beads, baubles, and wallets.
If I had used you for my previous assignment, 3 of my best men wouldn't be standing on the docks with Sherlock Holmes breathing down their necks.
But, Professor, if women get the vote, it'll be the end of our masquerade.
I do not intend to see so valuable a gang as our suffragettes lose their cover. To this end, I am working diligently to see that women do not receive the vote.
I understand.
You'll get your cut in the usual manner. Admit Sid.
Always a pleasure talking with you, Professor.
Remember me, Professor?
You left traces of coal dust on the vault at the stock exchange.
I did.
What do you want?
Come across something that might interest you.
Commence.
Seems this couple.
Names.
Imagine James Larrabee.
They're wanted by the French police.
Blimey! Professor, is there anything you don't know?
I don't know what you've come across that might interest me.
They met a young woman who has letters that would put the Prince of Bohemia in a very awkward way.
The Prince of Bohemia. Where are the Larrabees?
Waiting.
You brought them here to my secret underground office?
I'll vouch for the Larrabees.
You had better be right, Sid Prince. Otherwise, the Thames River will have you as an overnight guest. John, admit the Larrabees.
I wouldn't do nothing to harm you, Professor Moriarty. You know that. You can trust Sid Prince.
I trust no one. That is why I will never be defeated. What is this business you have with the Prince of Bohemia?
I'm not sure as we want to tell you. After all, this is our game, not yours.
Is it?
I'm not even certain I want to be here.
Silence!
Here now, I don't like being talked to like that.
Obviously, you don't understand to whom you are speaking.
Don't anger the professor.
I'm not afraid of him.
You had better be James Larrabee. Otherwise, you won't live another day.
Careful.
Sit down.
I was telling the professor about the Prince of Bohemia.
Can you help us?
Who is the young woman in this case?
Alice Faulkner, stubborn. Seems her sister died in despair over the prince.
But not before the prince wrote many love letters.
We plan to sell them to the insurance company.
Everything was going fine. Then, all of a sudden, they called in Sherlock Holmes.
That name again! Where are the letters now?
Alice has them on her person. She threatens to destroy them if we make a move.
You know the contents of each letter?
Of course.
You could make forgeries?
We have in our employ an extremely clever forger.
Foreman by name.
Holmes has seen the letters.
Only a small packet returned to Alice. He had no time to open the letters.
Tie the forgeries up so they look exactly like the packet Holmes held in his hand.
But why, Professor?
I have my methods. I shall require the counterfeit package at 11 tonight.
It'll be ready.
I shall also require a little assistance from you both.
You haven't said anything about the business arrangements.
You'll have an opportunity tonight to sell the counterfeit package to Holmes for a good round sum. You will take 100%. I, nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing except the packet of real letters.
Careful, Jimmy boy. Don't anger the professor, I tell you.
You were, I believe, Mr. Larrabee, acquainted with one Alf Waxman, a well-known blackmailer?
I know old Alf, sure.
We all do.
Seen him around lately?
Well, now that you mention it, no.
And you won't be. He displeased me.
You won't cross you, Professor.
I trust not. I shall hate to see you in the widow's weeds.
You won't have any trouble from us, Professor Moriarty. We'll get what we can from Holmes.
Yes, Professor. Whatever you say, sir.
Your interview is over. John, I bid you good morning.
Professor, I was wondering if you might have a small assignment for, good old Sid Prince.
Your interview is over!
Yes, Professor. Lovely weather we're having, Professor. Ah!
The Prince of Bohemia. Splendid. Excellent. Capital. Professor Moriarty here. Bring my cab around front. I journey to Baker Street.
To Sherlock Holmes?
Baker Street is his residence, I believe.
You go there yourself?
I will go there myself. I will offer him peace or death. Either way, Moriarty wins!
You're a marvel, Professor.
Five star, only a penny. Who wants one? London fog, invigorating. 5 star, only a penny. Who wants one?
Good for the circulation.
My, you speaking to me, ma'am?
What? Who? Oh no, my good woman. I was just commenting on the helpful benefits of London fog. It's underrated. For some maladies, it can be most beneficial.
My, you sound like you're educated.
I'm a doctor, Watson by name.
Not the famous Dr. Watson, the one who writes about Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
The same.
I'm a great fan of yours, Dr. Watson.
You don't say.
You and your Mr. Holmes sure do have weird adventures. I never did get over the case of speckled band.
Like that, did you?
Positively creepy. Scared me more than the case of the Sussex vampire.
Always happy to meet a loyal reader.
For you, Dr. Watson. It's no charge for you, Dr. Watson. It's a pleasure.
Most thoughtful. Thank you so much.
Have some matches, ma'am. They're inexpensive. I've got all kinds.
Oh, bless me. Baker Street is becoming a gypsy bazaar.
I've some from India and some from Sweden. Person can never have enough matches.
Foolish child. You make them sound like the staff of life. Here you go. That should keep you quiet.
Thank you, ma'am.
Person can never have enough matches. Foolish child.
Matches, matches. Who wants some?
Go shy.
I've kept my eye on the house, watching everyone coming in and everyone coming out.
The professor is counting on us. Cover all the alleyways into Baker Street. Be ready when and if needed.
I can decoy the police on the corner.
Good. Don't attract any undue attention. He may require our assistance.
Must you yell, Watson? I'm trying to concentrate on my music.
Do put it down, Holmes. I could hear the screeching halfway up the block.
You should develop an ear for music.
I have an ear for music. It's your violin playing which makes me wish I were deaf.
Surely my playing hasn't put you in this agitated state.
It's the neighborhood.
Baker Street is a perfectly respectable neighborhood. Almost too respectable for my taste.
Too respectable?
I know, my dear Watson, that you share my love for all that is bizarre and outside the conventions and humdrum routine of everyday life. Baker Street hardly qualifies. It is comfortable, but routine.
You wouldn't think so if you had to run the gauntlet I just did. Ribbon hawkers, suffragettes, match sellers, push carts. It's busier than the fish market at dawn.
Baker Street is not the best area for commerce. Thus, I suspect the ribbon hawkers, match sellers, suffragettes, and pushcart peddlers are not as they seem.
Talking riddles again?
I see you visited Lally's bookstore within the hour and were unable to secure your weekly copy of London Review.
How the devil did you just deduce that?
The traces of red clay on your shoes. Workmen are excavating in front of Lally's, and that particular shade of clay can only be found in that one locale. Also, the clay has not yet had time to dry.
Amazing.
Since London Review is the only reason you visit Lally's, and it is a large hardbound periodical that cannot fit into your medical bag, I can only surmise that they were sold out.
You astonish me, Holmes.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
I met a fan, flower girl down the street, pleasant sort. A great admirer of your exploits and my literary talent.
Mr. Holmes, sir?
Do come in, Mrs. Hudson.
There's a gentleman to see you.
Ah, that would be Inspector Lestrade of Scotland Yard, and he is not alone.
How did you know that?
It is of no importance. Please show the lady and the gentleman in.
Right away, Mr. Holmes. I do hate to mention it, but the neighbors have been complaining about your target practice.
Indeed.
I do wish you wouldn't use my rooms for that sort of thing. It ruins the walls.
Quite right, Mrs. Hudson, quite right. Lestrade and some woman?
Lestrade is merely acting as a police escort. The gentleman in question is none other than the Prince of Bohemia. The woman is Lady Edwina Hunter, a distant relative.
How can you be sure it's them?
I looked out of my bedroom window when they were getting out of their carriage. Pray come in. Delighted to see you again, Lady Edwina. My colleague, Dr. Joan Watson.
Dr. Watson. Delighted. This is...
Softly. The walls may have ears. Pray be seated.
We've come directly from the insurance people. They say you have taken complete charge.
Correct.
What progress have you made, Mr. Holmes?
Minimal.
Considering your reputation, that's hardly encouraging. You disappoint me.
We'll pay you any sum.
My professional charges are upon a fixed scale. I do not vary them except when I remit them all together.
We're desperate.
Your Highness, did you love the sister of Alice Faulkner?
That's all the past. The future is all that matters.
I see no reason not to answer. Mr. Holmes, I loved her deeply. I would have married her.
Nonsense. You're too young to know your own mind. Infatuation. Nothing more.
Did she know of your true feelings?
Yes.
You say you would have married her, and that she knew of your true affection. Hardly the motives for self-destruction.
I've never been able to understand why she did it.
Curious, she had everything to live for.
What matters now are those letters. In the wrong hands, they could be lethal.
I don't think we were followed.
No matter. It appears to me our time has been wasted. Mr. Holmes reports minimal progress.
I assure you, Lady Edwina, Holmes knows what he's about.
You'll forgive me if I do not share your enthusiasm. The stakes are too high for anything but positive results. I think we ought to return to the insurance people and register a complaint. I trust you expect more than minimal progress in the near future, Mr. Holmes.
Please forgive my aunt, Mr. Holmes. Please forgive my aunt, Mr. Holmes. She's been under a terrible strain. I can't bring myself to reprimand her.
I understand.
I'll be down shortly, Your Highness. I want a word with Mr. Holmes. That Lady Edwina is a cold one.
Her motives are clear. She only wants to protect the family honor.
Being the prince's bodyguard ain't my idea of ideal police work.
I'd consider it an honor.
Well, it's them I have to worry about, and that heist from the Tower of London. I hope you give some time to give a hand with that one.
I assure you, once this affair with the Prince of Bohemia is concluded, the tower will have my full attention.
That would make
Mr. Holmes.
that one makes an excellent title. Sherlock Holmes and the robbery at the Tower of London.
Might be a story for your pen, Dr. Watson, but it's my job. I'm obliged, Mr. Holmes. Count on Lestrade.
Count on Lestrade. The man's a dolt. I doubt he could find himself in the lost and found department.
The Prince of Bohemia is a rather unique client.
You'd consider the prince a mere client? Have you no compassion?
A client is a mere factor, a unit in the problem. The emotional qualities are antagonistic to clear reasoning.
You sound like a calculating machine.
The plot thickens.
What? Smells of kidney pie. Some of Miss Hudson's good English cooking.
Hardly. It's jasmine. Essence of jasmine.
Perfume?
Won't you come in, Miss Faulkner?
Bless me!
No need to hide in the shadows. I'm sure Lestrade didn't see you.
How did you know it was me?
There are over 75 perfumes, of which it is very necessary that a criminal expert be able to distinguish one from another. At the Larrabees, you radiated the scent of jasmine.
Remarkable.
Elementary.
Holmes, where are your manners? Please sit down, my dear. I'm Dr. Watson.
Thank you. I would like to speak with you privately.
Well, if you want to be alone.
No need, dear friend. I would like your opinion on this matter. You may speak openly in front of Watson.
Very well. I've come to correct a false impression.
Indeed.
At the Larrabees, I told you my prime motive was a desire for money. I do not want money.
You seek justice for your sister.
Justice? There is no justice. I seek punishment. Revenge.
Revenge is not only sweet, it is sometimes therapeutic.
I seek nothing for myself.
Why didn't you confront the prince outside the house?
That wouldn't prove anything. I want the world to know of his disgrace, his cruelty.
Cruelty? Prince Carl impressed me as a rather pleasant young man.
Watson! Please.
Sorry.
Is this all you wanted to tell me?
Why didn't you seize letters when you had the opportunity?
Because I am a detective second and a gentleman first.
I see. I'll take no more of your time.
I could have Miss Hudson serve tea. She's famous for her cucumber sandwiches.
No, thank you, Dr. Watson. I've already imposed.
You're still at the Larrabees?
I've made arrangements to move to a hotel, modest but fashionable.
Wise.
Good day, Sherlock Holmes.
Miss Faulkner?
Lovely creature.
She's taken the bait.
Bait?
She'll never turn those letters over to me until I have her complete trust. I am winning that trust.
She seemed charming. Disturbed, but charming.
I assure you the most winning woman I ever knew was hanged for poisoning 3 little children for their insurance money.
You don't like Miss Faulkner?
Liking a woman is the first step to loving a woman. Love is an emotional thing.
I'd hope so.
Whatever is emotional is opposed to that cold, true reason which I place above all things. Careful. Easy, Watson. It's the Larrabees maid.
Mr. Holmes?
Why were you coming in that way? Most irregular.
Foreman said that no one must sneak into the front door.
Foreman?
My man at the Larrabees, an undercover agent.
Oh, I'm so nervous. What if the police saw me? They would think I'm a criminal.
Compose yourself. Sit down and give me the message.
Foreman says they've got him making a bundle of forgeries.
They, you mean the Larrabees?
Yes, they're making counterfeit copies of Miss Faulkner's letters.
Do you understand from Foreman the seriousness of this business?
He has enlisted my aid. I'm your ally, Mr. Holmes.
Good show.
Poor Miss Faulkner, they told me she was demented. I'm quitting at once.
No, you mustn't do that.
No.
I wish Miss Faulkner to know that I propose to buy the false letters. Tell her you overheard the Larrabees discussing the matter with Foreman. But do not let her know that I know that the letters are counterfeit.
If you say so. But why?
I have my reasons. If you should work with me in the future, I shall ask complete fidelity to my orders.
In other words, my dear, he doesn't want you to ask any questions.
Foreman's right. You mustn't be seen. Careful on your way out.
I find your type of work exciting, Mr. Holmes.
I was afraid of that. Off you go.
Yes, sir.
Holmes, this apartment has more traffic than Victoria Station.
I'm expecting a visitor at any minute. He will not enter this house until he is quite certain that I am alone.
But
sir,
Holmes!
What is it? Mrs. Hudson.
The match girl just brought news from my sister, the one with the headaches.
The match girl?
No, my sister. I must go to her, no telling when I'll be back.
Watson and I can manage.
Can I be of any assistance?
I don't think so, Dr. Watson. It's her nerves more than anything. I'll brew her some rosehip tea.
We'll be quite all right.
There's some cold liver in the ice in case you're hungry.
Cold liver? Could have sworn it was kidney pie.
I am now expecting a visitor. He will not enter this house until he is quite certain that I am alone. Follow Mrs. Hudson. Pretend to escort her to the tram. Then double back to Baker Street. Do not enter this house until you hear me cry out or a gunshot disturbs the calm.
But Holmes!
Hurry!
What's all the mystery? Never tell me a thing. People popping in and out!
Won't you come in, Professor? I find the violin relaxes me. Hand me my violin, and I can forget for half an hour miserable weather and the still more miserable ways of our fellow man.
I find the same solace in higher mathematics. You're saving it for a client?
Make yourself comfortable.
You are not surprised to see me?
Hardly. Your suffragettes have been gathering in the byways of Baker Street for the past hour.
You know about them, I see. But then I would expect nothing less from the great Sherlock Holmes.
You flatter me.
I have never underestimated you, Holmes. We are both connoisseurs. We've been fencing for years. Our pond gets smaller and smaller. We grow together like a couple of greedy old pike. Either I finish you, or you finish me, or we choke on each other. Either way, one of us must go.
I take it you have a proposal.
Join me, Holmes, in an alliance.
An unholy alliance.
I may yet tempt you.
With what? Loot from robberies, stock manipulations, jewels from the Tower of London? You disappoint me, Professor.
You and I know what is most desired. Power. Soon I will have the power to create the greatest crime of all time. World War. Nations will grovel at my feet. Millions will be made. Millions with which to buy more power. Kings, presidents, emperors will be humbled. What a glorious spectral, Holmes. The world in flames.
I will never let this happen.
If you do not agree to join me, then give me your assurance you will never again hinder my plans.
And if I give no such assurance?
Destruction.
If I were assured of your destruction, I would, in the interest of the public, cheerfully accept my own.
I shall miss you, Holmes.
I'm afraid I shall deprive you of that pleasure. Lestrade and his men are already rounding up as many of your gang as they can catch in the streets.
He will come here next?
No. I do not know how you suppose to put your grand illusion into effect, but you must be free to move about so that I can hound you and discover your plot.
You have seen fit not only to reject my proposal, but to do so with irritating smugness. You have made insulting references I cannot allow to pass. You win the first round, young Sherlock Holmes, but the second round will fall to me. You have been warned.
The game's afoot, Moriarty. I shall not sleep until I have you behind bars and your plans are ruined. You have been warned.
Another body Let's right outside the British Museum.
We all matter, score profit, another sales, outside British Museum. We all matter. London's still gripped by an outbreak of crime and violence. We know about it. Royal wedding for Prince of Bohemia and Russian royal girls near. Unexplained cleared up of armaments along the Austrian border. Evening news. Munitions stock skyrocket. Europe on the verge of war. Y'all about it. Evening news. Wounded tourists into the brand of tea. We all about it. Another body found in the Plumstead marshes. Public is asking why doesn't Sherlock Holmes do something? We all about it. Royal wedding for Prince Bohemia.
Why doesn't she get here? Never you mind about Mrs. Bassick. She knows what she's about.
I hope the Bobbies didn't get her outside the British Museum. Lordy, what a time that was.
All them pretty fancy ladies and gentlemen watching our suffragette riot, never realizing the pockets being picked and pretty jewels lifted.
Mrs. Bassett says we may bankrupt half the insurance firms in London.
Half?
All. Look, here she comes.
Both here. Good.
You look all done in.
It's the professor. He's in a strange way.
How so?
Very preoccupied, my dear. Very preoccupied.
What's the game tonight?
Hard to say. Though, if we're in this warehouse again, so close to Plumstead Marshes, my guess is we play the game of murder.
If the professor doesn't stop dropping people in the water, he's going to clog up the sewers.
Careful, someone's coming.
Professor Moriarty, you in here?
No one here but us suffragette mice.
Scared me half to death you did, Mrs. Bassick.
Sit down.
Gladly.
Weren't seen, were you?
No. Mind if I light my pipe?
No!
What now?
You might throw the match on the floor.
What of it?
We're over gas lines. They're old. They leak.
You might say we're over a gas chamber, so no matches.
Amen to that.
Who's that?
Should be gas obscurity.
It's her. Can't mistake that one.
Greetings. Wanna know? Did you bring it? Of course he did. Wanted me to find his works too. Let's see it. Come on.
What's that wicked-looking thing?
It's a time bomb, dearie. Ain't it lovely?
It ain't the sort of thing I'd want to find in my Christmas stocking.
What's a professor going to do with that?
Who's it for?
All in good time.
Was you there the whole time, Professor?
I shall be brief.
It's me finest piece of work, Professor.
It had better be gas house, Gertie, or this trapdoor beneath my shoe drops into the slimy marsh.
You can trust me workmanship, Professor. I stands by me product.
Trust, that is no word to use to Moriarty. Timing.
5 minutes leeway once it's set. Who's it to be, Professor?
Young Sherlock Holmes.
Wow, he's a big fish, that one.
They won't be able to stop up Holmes with a blotter.
Who's that?
According to my schedule, should be Mr. James Larrabee.
Had a devil of a time finding the place.
Leave us. Stand ready for when you're needed.
This way.
You sent the letter to Holmes as ordered?
I did, telling him to meet me here at midnight. Will he come?
Holmes must produce those letters for his client or suffer irreparable damage to his reputation. Holmes has one fault that will trip him.
What's that?
Vanity. Once you have your letters, signal with 3 short whistles.
Oh, not sure I can do that. I can manage 1, but 3 takes talent.
Use this.
Oh, thank you, Professor.
Not now, cretin, when you're finished with Holmes.
Beg pardon.
Mrs. Bask will know what to do. Sid!
Yes, Professor. Sir.
You'll stand guard by the alley. When young Holmes nears, signal with the bird call.
Bird call? Yes, Professor. I'm your man, Professor.
Good luck, Larrabee.
What if Holmes tries something? What if he brings the police? What? Creepy old warehouse. Turns my blood to ice water. I wish I never got mixed up in all this business. It's too spooky for my tastes. Hey? Holmes. Who are...
Oh, what is this place? It smells of a gas leak.
Delicate thing, aren't you, Alice? How did you get here?
I followed you in a cab.
What are you going to do, inform the police?
I know what you're up to, if that's any concern of yours. You're going to sell counterfeit letters to Mr. Holmes. Or try to.
Oh, you're going to warn him?
I will not let him be swindled and deceived.
How do you plan to stop me?
I could buy you off.
Why should you be protective of Sherlock Holmes?
That is my affair.
An affair of the heart, maybe? You've placed yourself in danger coming here, but how much would you give?
The real letters?
Have you got them with you?
No, but I can get them.
You think he's your friend, don't you? He's not. Otherwise, he wouldn't be coming here to buy the letters.
Fake letters.
He doesn't know that.
Well, before he'd buy any letters, he'd ask my permission.
He won't get the chance.
What's that for?
We'll see.
What villainy is this?
Tie her up and gag her.
No. Don't struggle, dearie. It'll make me irritated. No, I'll tell you where the real letters are. Don't trust her. Just promise not to go through with this.
It's too late. Holmes will be here any second.
No, please, no. Have you no shame?
I can't afford it.
Just do what the professor says and there won't be any problems.
Finished?
Neat and tidy.
Just when everything was going so well. What? It has to be Holmes.
I wish I could understand why the criminal element so fancies the Plumstead marshes.
The West India docks are too public.
Perhaps it's because the water rats favor these marshes.
Never shy with the insult, are you, Mr. Holmes?
Not where rogues are concerned.
Got my message, I see?
Obviously.
I chose this place because it was neutral territory.
Rubbish. These are one of Moriarty's caves. I've been here on several occasions dealing with riffraff.
Moriarty. I've never heard of him.
As a liar, you're a rank amateur, Mr. Larrabee.
I tell you, I've never heard of Moriarty.
I am here to discuss letters.
They're sitting right in front of you, Mr. Holmes.
Miss Faulkner has consented to the sale?
Yes?
On the contrary, I think Miss Faulkner knows nothing about this affair.
What makes you think she's in the dark?
Your every look, tone, and gesture.
You think you can read me like a book?
A children's book. Get on with it.
How much will you give?
£1,000.
5.
I have brought the sum with me.
I won't take less than 5, I tell you.
£1,000. If you desire to sell at this figure, advise me at once. Otherwise, I shall bid you a good evening.
Will you give me 2?
1.
Ah, well, why quibble? £1,000 it is.
My letters?
Paid for and delivered.
Now I've got you, Larrabee. You'll get 10 years for robbery.
Robbery?
These letters.
You don't even have a witness.
Miss Faulkner herself. I saw her enter this warehouse, and intermingled with the odor of escaping gas is the unmistakable scent of jasmine. Where have you hidden her?
Pay no mind. It's them water rats.
Once you're behind bars, the professor will have lost one more incompetent crook.
You think so? Now who's got the upper hand?
I warn you, I learned uncommon fighting techniques in the Orient. My hands and feet are deadly.
All talk. We got him pinned down.
We'll play it safe. Bring out the girl.
give us any trouble, Mr. Holmes, when the girl goes first.
I recognize the lot. Miss Bassick and a gang of counterfeit suffragettes. Sid Prince and the destructive gashouse Gertie.
They can't be trusted, Mr. Holmes. Can't be trusted, Mr. Holmes.
What are you waiting for? Tie him up.
It is not difficult to imagine who is behind all of this.
He knows about the professor.
No matter. Besides, the professor's a gent. He left me a message for you. What's he talking about? Well, he gives his kindest compliments and wishes you a pleasant journey.
Journey? What's she talking about, Mr. Holmes?
A pleasant journey to the other side. He had me with a little bon voyage gift. Ain't it lovely?
5
It's a
minutes.
bomb. Oh, I hope so, dearie. That's what it's supposed to be.
5 minutes.
I'll set the timer. Just like boiling an egg.
Come on, let's get out of here.
Nice to see the last of you, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
The rope's tight.
They can't twist their hands out of those knots.
We're doomed.
Courage, Miss Faulkner, courage.
You can all stay around here and chit-chat if you like, but that's a bomb and I'm traveling.
I'm with you, Sid. Toodles.
The great detective, Sherlock Holmes, blown to bits in the Plumstead marshes.
Who's this professor they speak of?
The most evil man in London, I suspect, Miss Faulkner. He wishes the marriage to take place. That is why he has taken an interest in the letters.
I don't understand. 3 minutes.
If the marriage takes place, he can then produce the letters, proving that Prince Carl married under a cloud, that he employed deception.
Go on.
This affront to the honor of the royal Russian family will demand satisfaction.
Satisfaction?
War.
Oh, there's not much time left.
This would then put the professor in a position of unbelievable power, since he controls the munitions cartel. That is the scheme. Count on it.
Incredible.
Miss Faulkner, your sister did not meet her demise as you suspect, but at the hands of a hired assassin.
Can I believe that? 2.5 minutes.
I know Moriarty's methods.
Although we'll soon be going out together, I feel I hardly know you. You're here, doomed, because of me. I cannot help but feel responsible.
These things happen.
If only you'd stayed out of the case.
When Moriarty is involved, matters demand my presence. 2 minutes.
Then this is goodbye.
Nonsense. I shall free myself from these bonds and survive.
How?
I studied thought concentration, the amazing power to shrink one's hands through intense concentration.
Concentration, you haven't the time. Oh, hurry, Mr. Holmes.
Concentrating?
90 seconds.
Don't interrupt me.
Oh, please, hurry. Too late.
Never.
Oh, thank heavens.
It's all in the inhalation. Proper breathing is a great boon to mankind. It's a pity so few men and women don't know how to breathe properly.
Do you think you could hurry along, Mr. Holmes?
Concentration and focus never fails.
Then I'll have to try it sometime, but not now.
You're a brave young woman, Miss Faulkner.
Right now I'm a very frightened young woman. We must escape.
After you, Miss Faulkner.
There's only seconds left.
41 seconds, to be precise.
On we go, heel for heel and toe for toe. Arm in row in row, off for Molly's wedding. Step we gaily, on we go, heel for heel and toe for toe. Arm in row, off for Molly's wedding. Step we gaily, on we go, heel for heel and toe for toe. Arm in row, off for Molly's wedding.
sign long-term peace pact. More military men up in here. Munitions stocks rise. Millions invested in bombs, boots, and cannons. Extradition! Please read fake suffragettes, mysterious explosions in the Bunsen marshes.
Bunsen marshes. What happened there?
I've written out a prescription to help with the headaches, Miss, I didn't quite catch the name.
Miss Gibbs, Doctor. Miss Lillian Gibbs, thank you for your time, although I am sorry to discover Mr. Holmes isn't home.
I got a lot of patients who come here hoping to see him.
Just a glimpse is all I wanted. I wouldn't dream of intruding on his privacy. Sure he's not here?
My dear young woman, I've already told you that Holmes is not here, and I'm not in the habit of lying.
I didn't mean to appear rude.
It's a Miss Baskerville, Dr. Watson. Baskerville.
This way. I won't take any more of your time.
What seems to be the trouble?
I'm desperate for help. You must tell me when Sherlock Holmes will return.
I have no idea. What's the trouble? Perhaps I can assist.
My uncle was recently killed by a gigantic ghost hound.
What?
Gigantic ghost town, did you say?
On the moors, outside the manor house, the villagers say it's a family curse. The hound of the Baskervilles.
Good gracious, doesn't sound like a proper English ghost at all.
My brothers are in line for their inheritance. I must speak to Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, there.
My brothers had to die. I know it. I'm so frightened.
Come along with me, child. A nice cup of tea by my warm kitchen fire will do you wonders.
Excellent idea. Perhaps after you've had your tea, Holmes will return. Gigantic ghost hound? What next? Holmes, what the devil?
We're alone?
Of course we're alone. What are you doing coming in that way?
I must make certain that Moriarty saw me.
Then why did you come in the front way?
There must be a certain mystery to me returning to Baker Street. You see, he means to kill me.
You mean in here?
He missed his chance at the Plumstead Marshes.
Were you mixed up in that?
In a fashion. Any unusual visitors this morning?
Oh, just some girl complaining about a dog.
A dog?
And a lady who called herself Lillian Gibbs, but looks suspiciously like the description you gave me of Madge Larrabee.
Excellent. No doubt here to see if I was in hiding. The knot draws tighter. Mrs. Hudson!
What about the letter business?
I've sent word to Lady Edwina and Prince Carl to meet me here within the hour.
With Moriarty on the prowl?
What better time?
Holmes, I didn't hear you come in.
That is what you will expect to hear when I do not wish to be heard.
Huh?
Do be so kind as to fetch the cab on the corner.
Cab is still waiting on the corner. Not enough business for them.
You'll find one there this morning. Inform the cabman that you have a tenant who wishes to go to the following address. 106 Harley Lane.
Who's going out?
I am.
But you just came in.
Do hurry, Mrs. Hudson.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
106 Harley Lane? Well, that's the address of the insurance firm that hired you.
Correct.
So you're going there with everyone else coming here.
Also correct. Hello, what's this?
Oh, just some medical supplies I had delivered.
Might do.
Might do for what?
Stop asking so many questions and give me a hand.
You're gonna leave it there?
Curious
What?
that he's here so soon.
Who?
Those are not the footsteps. Won't you come in, Miss Faulkner?
Pray forgive me for coming against your instructions.
You are a strong-willed young woman, Miss Faulkner.
You wouldn't allow me to thank you last evening.
There's no thanks necessary, but I told you I had an important business meeting within this... Shh!
What is it? Shh! Shh!
Quick, Miss Faulkner, play patient. Turn your back to the visitor.
What visitor?
Watson, I rely on you.
Hurry, my dear, hurry.
there you are, my good man. I wish to go to 106 Harley Lane and then to Victoria Station. You'll have trouble with that chest. It's quite heavy.
I can manage.
Now, my dear, about these dizzy spells. They give me no relief. When did you first notice this condition? A fortnight ago.
Would you like a hand with that?
Might help.
Perhaps I should unload some of the contents. I don't want anything to break in transit.
I know my job.
Are you sure?
What's this? Mind you're doing! Stop!
Too late. I've got you.
What's going on? Mr. Holmes, why have you put handcuffs on the cabman?
Cabman? No, Miss Faulkner. I give you the author of all the evil that has transpired, Professor Moriarty.
I may swoon. Setting, my dear, I'm here.
Now is the time, Lestrade.
Coming, Mr. Holmes.
I'm sorry you didn't have the chance to finish me off.
That makes two of us.
I doubt if I would ever reach Victoria Station.
Me too.
Went like clockwork, eh, Holmes?
Reporting for duty, sir.
Here's your man, Lestrade. Oh, permit me to introduce the Larrabee's butler, Professor. He's my man at the Larrabee's.
Got you there, Professor.
London will sleep easy tonight, thanks to you, Mr. Holmes.
It certainly will.
And may it always do so. Have you apprehended Madge Larrabee?
Yes, and her husband too.
Splendid. I shall not only have the pleasure of testifying against you, but against your men as well. Take him away, Lestrade.
It'll be my pleasure.
Things are certainly looking up.
I cursed you!
Aye, Professor, return the compliment.
We got him from here, Sherlock.
What will they do to him?
The gallows, I trust. Ah, you received my message. Excellent.
Who are those men?
Two were reasonably respectable citizens, and the evil-looking one was a minor criminal.
Minor? That was Professor Moriarty himself.
We have more serious matters to discuss.
More serious than Moriarty?
Won't you have a seat, Lady Edwina?
I prefer to stand. Could we get on with it?
At once.
Do you or do you not have the letters?
I have them, paid for at a cost of £1,000.
What are you up to, Mr. Holmes?
What's the matter, Carl?
These aren't the letters.
What?
They're forgeries. Cleverly done, but forgeries nonetheless.
Are you certain?
Mr. Holmes, in spite of your supposed cleverness, they have tricked you.
You have disappointed Queen Victoria.
Moriarty's won. I'm ruined.
Surely this doesn't mean you may not recover the real letters?
I'm afraid it does.
The prince put such trust in you.
The insurance people told me I could count on you.
Do you have any idea what this will do to international affairs?
This will be a slap in the face of your reputation.
I am ruined. Ruined.
You are not ruined.
Your Highness, I informed you by messenger that these letters would be in your hands within the hour.
Carl, are they genuine?
Yes, quite genuine. Mr. Holmes, your reputation is safe.
But what of the other letters? The forgeries?
Holmes' methods are unorthodox.
Whatever you say, Dr. Watson, but I really don't understand.
All that matters is that we have the real letters.
True.
I'm sure you appreciate the strain Mr. Holmes has been under.
Naturally, we shall return to the insurance people and tell them of our complete satisfaction.
You're too kind.
You have been invaluable.
I'll show you out. You knew the letters you purchased from Larrabee were forgeries.
Yes.
You knew when you told me of this important business meeting I'd have to come here.
I hoped you would.
You knew I could never allow you to be disgraced.
I am an excellent trickster, Miss Faulkner, but before you say anything further, I detect a hint of romance in your voice.
Your skills of deduction are remarkable.
If I ever had a time for romance, if ever my heart could reach out to another,
Don't stop.
Alice,
Sherlock.
Alice.
Oh, Mr. Holmes, do forgive me.
Good heavens, who are you?
Maggie Baskerville, my brother, Sir Henry Baskerville.
Niece and nephew of the murdered Sir Charles Baskerville.
Yes.
I know the case.
Early this morning, my brother received a letter warning that he would die at the face of a gigantic Ghost hound. Not more letters.
Quickly, Miss Baskerville, downstairs. I'll follow. There's not a moment to lose.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Goodbye, Alice. Think of me as one of the stately homes of England. Fascinating to visit, but impossible to live with. Watson, come along, Watson. The game's afoot.
I shall never forget you, Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, thank you. What is the devil wrong with these drapes? Must you yell, Watson? I'm trying to concentrate on my music.
It's a Miss Baskerville, Dr. Watson.
Baskerville, Baskerville.
This way.
She's coming.
I left my prescription on the table. Can I please have it? Oh, thank you so much.
Miss Baskerville, you're wasting my time. Hurry up, Miss Baskerville. Finally. What seems to be the trouble?
I know my job. What's this? Mind your doing. Stop!
Too late. I've got you.